I mean, I think he's standing up for himself. At the end of the day, a lot has transpired over the course of, the past 3 years, 4 years? And I think he's just at a boiling point.
Do you think that's kind of understandable? Really good year, everything's kind of going his way, and they're still bringing up highlights from his Wizards days and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's understandable. I understand where he's coming from.
None of the highlights were from this year, right?
No, not most recent that I think.
You think JaVale's been getting from you guys, from Kerr and from KD and publicly and everything last couple of days?
I think so. I've been in a situation like that, and I know I appreciate it. So I definitely think he appreciates the support and just to know that someone has your back.
Steve called it the most insane basketball schedule he's seen in the NBA. I mean, have you even looked at it and seen what your travel itinerary is the next 2 weeks?
No. He said something about it, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I know we got a couple back-to-backs or something.
You guys got 5 East Coast and then 1 back here in Minnesota, San Antonio.
Oh, that's the one I've been thinking about. Is that one Minnesota, then the San Antonio, then?
Yeah, and it's after 1 home game after.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. But we'll figure it out.
You think you might get some rest? I mean, I know Kevin's sitting there having a little hand thing. I mean, are you expecting?
Hand thing.
Maybe it's a big one. Yeah, bring some news to me if you want.
I don't know what it is. I'm just saying. You said a little hand thing, like hands can't hurt.
I'm just saying, do you expect guys to get some rest during the rest of the season?
Our number one goal is in the regular season is always, take home court advantage throughout the playoffs. And we still got a little ways to go, to do that. And in doing that, you just don't want to give away games. You gotta lock that down. Obviously, the Spurs have been playing great all season, and they're right there. 4 games behind isn't a lot, especially when we go there twice. I think on back-to-backs, both of them, if I'm not mistaken. It's 2 tough games. So those games alone can cause huge swings. So we gotta take care of business, and if you're able to create some separation, then it's probably a conversation you have.
DRAYMOND, your basketball court. With your build, what made you think that you could be this good passer, guy with the floor vision?
I've just never followed the guideline. I think people create whatever guideline they want and then expect you to follow it. And they say that's right. I've never really agreed with that in my life. I think there's a different way of going about a lot of things than the typical way. And I kind of approach the game of basketball the same way. There's a lot of different ways to play this game, and a lot of different ways to be effective. And not just the typical way that everyone says, oh, he's this size, he's supposed to do that. He weighs this much, he's supposed to do that. Whatever the situation is, that's how it's always going. And, my uncle used to always teach me how to play every position. When I got to playing AAU with the family, my AAU coach Speedy told me, hey man, you got to learn how to. You have to do everything. You have to shoot. You have to dribble. You have to pass. You can't just be a center. I used to play center. You can't just be a center. You're not big enough. And so it's kind of always been that way. Where I just did some everything.
You ever have to talk your way? Say, hey, coach, I can do that. Don't limit me.
I think starting off is always that way. It was that way in college. It was that way in high school, and then my high school coach figured out, you can do a lot more. He let you do it. It was that way in college, then Coach Izzo figured out, I can do a lot more and let me do it. And the same thing is here. It's just about growing, building, playing your role, and then when the opportunity comes, be ready to jump into it and try to expand.
You're not the only one kind of defy the, like Kevin and even Steph really don't necessarily fit those roles. Is that part of the success of this team, do you think? Are you guys a little harder to game plan because of...
We are a little harder to game plan because it's not traditional. Everything, all the schemes you played your entire life, now you see, or some coaches have done their entire career, you see them completely changing their schemes and everything they believe in. Because it's not the traditional way of playing, so it's becoming more traditional because more people are trying to do it now. But it wasn't, what everyone was doing. So I think, that does bring some success with it.
5 years, let's say, what position does he play? Not you, just anybody. What is he? What is he? Now you talk to a scout and they'll say, like, can he play? Do you think that maybe people like you and your teammates kind of force people to look at basketball players instead of just...
I think so. And that was always my goal, as a player. They used to ask me in pre-draft in those meetings, like, what position do you play? And I'll tell them I don't play a position. I play basketball. You put me on the floor, I'll figure out something to get done. When they used to ask me, like, are you a 3? And my answer was always, no, I'm not a 3. Because you take away some of the things I can do as a 4-man if you just make me a 3. And if you make me a 4, you take away some of the things I can do as a 3. So just don't limit me. Just let me play. Put me on the floor, I'll figure it out.
Quadruple double without Scott.
How I always viewed it.
Do you think teams like to hear that answer from you, or do you think
No,
some
they
of them?
hated it.
Yeah.
Then.
And that's probably why I was the 35th pick. But it all worked out.
You should have shut up, got more money, and then.
Nah.
Can't do that?
That more money could have led to me being in a bad situation being out the NBA. So.
I was going to say that quadruple double without. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah. It's a testament to two things. One, your basketball IQ has gone off the charts, and it was already off the charts. And there's a self-sacrifice to that. And I was wondering if you think that the blend of Durant and the way other players have sacrificed some of their points, and is it all part of the culture of that?
It's definitely a part of the culture. If you want to win, sometimes you just have to sacrifice certain things. And it's not about how good you are as a player, or you are or aren't as a player, or
Do you feel more tuned in than you did, let's say, last year at this time?
Answer the first question or the second one?
Both. Second one.
All right.
It's just about feeling the basketball IQ.
All right, give me the second one again.
Do you feel more tuned in? Do you feel more aware of the geometry
I
of the
feel like
court?
I've grown a lot. I think the more comfortable you get with something, the game kind of just slow down. It's like it's moving in slow motion because you got it all figured out. I definitely think so. Because you start to see so many different coverages and you start to figure more things out. That way like last year, a lot of different things were being thrown at us. All of a sudden, a team is switching everything, and we've never seen that, so now you're trying to figure that out. We're kind of at the point now where we've pretty much seen everything, so when people throw different stuff at us, it's just like clockwork. You just pick up on it because it's not the first time that you've seen it, so I definitely think, that helps you feel like you're in a better place.
DRAYMOND have a crazy road stretch coming up. Do you ever find yourself kind of disoriented when you're on a crazy road stretch like that? Like, you forget what day of the week it is or anything like that?
Forget what day of the week it is. Forget what room number I'm in. I'll go to the room from the last hotel all the time. Wake up and not realize what city you're in, have to get up and look around for a minute. It's all a part of it. But nonetheless, you figure it out. That's the life in the NBA. And you can't just go bomb the games. You got to go try to win the game. So it gets tough, definitely. Sometimes you feel a little out of rhythm because you don't have as much gym time as you would if you're at home. All that stuff comes into effect, but you try to keep it as normal as possible. But it's never that. You just have to deal with it and figure it out.
Have you ever been in a that is, or like missed in practice? Or
No. Eric Housen does a great job of making sure we know wherever we need to be on time, step for step.
With a trip like this, do you have to schedule before you?
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of numbers on there, like bags at this time, first bus at this time, second bus, if you want to get on the early buses at this time, flight at this time, optional practice at this time, so you have to really pay attention and weave through it.
There's some emojis in there now.
Yeah. Great win, guys, with smiley faces, all type of stuff. So you definitely have to weave through it. But it's, you get used to it.
The stuff with more of the annual nitpick at the Warriors and sort of.
I don't know. Seems like that's become a thing now, hasn't it? I was always taught if someone isn't hating on you, you ain't doing something right. So that's how I look at it. Word.
What do they got against you guys? You're nice and quiet.
We're good. We're good. and they hate that. Picked on in the team that was beat on for so long. You know, then you hit the bully back down like that. You know, when they were used to coming in here and just it's the Warriors, check it off as a win, and all of a sudden you're almost checking it off as a loss. They don't like that.
You guys are having too much fun.
We do have fun, but it's basketball. It's supposed to be fun. I think we get condemned a lot for having fun. But
You play better when you're happy?
who, me or us?
Both.
Both.
That happens.
JaVale's blanket on the road trip coming up?
One day. One day.
Is it spontaneous or you got some plan?
Who's the funniest guy in the locker room?
Not me. Definitely not me. There's a lot of funny guys in that locker room, but I'm not one of them.